Have you ever felt lost, as if no one was by your side during the toughest times? When everything seems to be falling apart and loneliness feels heavy, that's when God is closest to you. I'm going to show you how, in your worst moments, Jesus never left you. He was there caring, guiding, and strengthening you, even when you couldn't feel it. This message is for those of you who are facing challenges, who have lost hope, or who feel like your prayers are not being heard. Let's explore together how God's presence, even amidst pain, can transform your difficulties into opportunities for growth and faith. By watching until the end, you will discover practical ways to find comfort, peace, and purpose, even in the darkest days. Now tell me this, have you ever gone through a moment when you felt completely alone? Have you ever wondered why God allowed certain trials in your life? If you want to understand the purpose behind your battles and how Jesus was with you all along, stay with me in this video. The answer might just change your perspective and your heart. Throughout the Bible, we find powerful stories that show how God is present in the darkest moments. Job, for example, is one of the greatest examples of unshakable faith, even in the face of devastating losses. He lost his family, his possessions, his health, and was confronted by friends who did not understand his suffering. Yet he never stopped believing that God had a purpose for his pain. When everything seemed lost, it was then that Job discovered God had always been with him, working behind the scenes for his restoration. Another great example is Jesus Christ in the Garden of Gethsemane. Before being crucified, Jesus experienced such deep anguish that he even sweated blood. He knew what was coming, but in his pain, he fully surrendered to the divine plan. There, alone in prayer, Jesus teaches us that even the Son of God experienced human suffering, but was never truly alone. God's presence was his strength. This is how we should also face our moments of tribulation, with confidence that there is a greater purpose. Psalm 34:18 reminds us that the Lord is close to the brokenhearted. David, the author of this psalm, knew what it was like to face moments of despair and uncertainty. He was pursued, hunted like a criminal, and on many occasions, it seemed there was no way out. But David, just like the 12 disciples of Jesus Christ, found comfort in knowing that God was with him every step of his journey. These stories are not just ancient. They continue to echo in our hearts, bringing the message that in every suffering, there is hope and redemption. Today, just as in biblical times, many people face enormous challenges and yet find strength in their faith. A recent example is of a woman who, after losing her job, was on the brink of giving up. Everything seemed to be against her. However, it was in her spiritual journey that she found the strength to rise again. By dedicating time to prayer and reconnecting with God, she realized that this difficult moment was actually an opportunity for transformation. Gradually, doors began to open, bringing prosperity and peace into her life. This kind of testimony reminds us that God's presence is not confined to the past. He continues to work in our lives just as he did in Mary Magdalene's, who found her redemption amidst her greatest darkness. Many of us, in our own journeys, have also found these moments of relief, even when everything seems to be falling apart. The difference lies in the priority we give to God in our lives. Placing Jesus Christ at the center of our existence gives us the clarity to understand that, even in difficulties, he is with us. Perhaps you've heard stories like these, or maybe even lived one yourself. And if you haven't, you can still be certain that just like the 12 disciples, God never abandons us. The key is to keep our faith, seek wisdom in moments of despair, and believe that there is something greater guiding our steps. By doing this, we begin to see the signs of his presence in our daily lives, bringing peace, love, and motivation to keep going. Many times, God's presence is compared to something invisible, yet deeply perceptible, like the wind. Although we cannot see it, we feel its effects. This is how divine presence is in our lives. Even in moments when it seems like we are walking alone, Jesus Christ is right beside us, guiding our steps. In the moments of greatest suffering, when our strength seems to run out, that is when he is most present. We may not feel it immediately, but God is working behind the scenes, always prioritizing what is best for us. Suffering, though painful, can be one of the greatest tools for transformation. God uses these experiences to shape our faith, just as gold is refined in the fire. Each trial teaches us something, strengthens us, and ultimately brings out a wiser and more resilient version of ourselves. When we look back, we realize that those difficulties were necessary for our spiritual growth. As Romans 8:28 says, "And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him. Therefore, even in the worst storms, there is a divine purpose at work." When we accept that suffering can be part of God's plan for something greater, we find peace amidst the chaos. This peace doesn't come from the absence of problems, but from the certainty that God is in control of everything. He teaches us that when we face challenges, we must trust in his love and wisdom. To do this, it is essential to cultivate a close relationship with God through prayer and meditating on his word. In this way, we can transform our pain into powerful motivation to keep going, knowing that every tear has a greater purpose. The journey of faith is not always easy, but one thing is certain: you don't have to face challenges alone. Jesus Christ is by your side, ready to renew your strength every single day. Suffering can be overwhelming, but it is on this journey that we discover the power of faith. God never promised a life without struggles, but he guaranteed that he would be with us in each one. Overcoming comes when we put our trust in him, believing that he will guide us through any storm. To begin walking this path of overcoming, dedicate a few minutes of your day to prayer. Take some time to connect with God, allowing his presence to renew your hope and motivation. Meditation on his word brings the peace and wisdom that we often seek elsewhere. Read the book of Psalms, especially Psalm 91, where we find promises of protection and refuge in God. These simple practices can transform your perspective, showing that spiritual prosperity is always within our reach. No matter how chaotic the circumstances around us may seem, there is always a way out when we prioritize God in our lives. He is the source of peace, love, and direction in the midst of difficulties. And remember, the journey of overcoming is not solitary. We are all connected by the same desire to find purpose and wisdom amidst adversity. Trust, keep praying, and let Jesus Christ be your strength in every step you take. In the most difficult moments, when everything seems to fall apart, remember this: God has never left you. He has been by your side in every tear, in every challenge, in every sleepless night. Jesus Christ has always been your rock, even when you didn't realize it. The secret to getting through times of tribulation is trusting in this constant love, knowing that with every step you take, he is with you. God is the strength that sustains us, the peace that surrounds us, and the wisdom that guides us. Now I challenge you to reflect on those moments when God's presence was evident in your life. Have you been prioritizing your connection with him? What habits can you start changing today to get closer to God and let him guide your life towards prosperity and peace? Share in the comments an experience where you felt God's hand lifting you up. It might be the inspiration someone else needs to renew their faith. Your story has the power to bring hope to those going through similar situations. Think about it. Your words could be the relief someone needs to feel the divine presence. Before we wrap up, I invite you to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you won't miss any content that can help you continue learning about faith, overcoming, and the power of God in our lives. The journey doesn't end here, and I want you to be with me every step of the way. See you in the next video.